What if one simple piece of paper could save your family from chaos, court battles, and heartache if something happened to you? Most people think estate planning is just for the rich or the elderly, but here's the truth. Even a young parent or a single adult needs this one powerful legal tool. It's called a power of attorney. And by the end of this video, you'll discover exactly why it protects your family and the huge mistake people make when they assume they don't need. 1. Stick around because one surprising detail about who actually gets to decide for you might just shock you. Number 1. What is a power of attorney really? A power of attorney, often called POA, is simply a legal document that gives someone you trust the authority to act on your behalf if you cannot make decisions yourself. Think of it like naming your backup quarterback, the person who steps in when you can't play. For example, if you're in a car accident and unconscious, your POA could pay your bills, talk to doctors, or even sell your house if needed. Without it, no one can legally make those decisions unless they go to court, and that court process can take weeks, cost thousands, and add stress at the worst possible time. Number 2. Why your family might be powerless without it. You might assume your spouse or kids can just step in and handle things. Unfortunately, that's not how the law works. If you don't have a power of attorney, your family has to petition the court to become your guardian or conservator. That process is called guardianship or conservatorship, and it can be a nightmare. In fact, one USA study found that guardianship cases can cost anywhere between $300 and $10,000 in legal fees, just to let your own family help you. Here's a real-life example. A man in New York was hospitalized after a stroke. His wife thought she could access his retirement account to pay medical bills, but the bank refused because she wasn't his power of attorney. It took 3 months in court before she could access the money. 3 months too late. Number 3. The 2 types of power of attorney you must know. Not all POAs are the same. There are 2 main types you should know about. First, a financial power of attorney. This lets your chosen person handle your money, bills, taxes, and property decisions. For example, they can write checks, manage investments, or even sell your car to pay expenses while you recover. Second, a medical power of attorney, sometimes called a healthcare proxy. This lets someone you trust talk to doctors and make medical decisions if you can't speak for yourself. Imagine being in a coma and your loved ones are blocked from deciding your treatment. That's why both types are crucial. Don't just pick one and think you're covered. Number 4. Who should you choose as your power of attorney? This is one of the most important decisions you'll make. You need someone trustworthy, reliable, and who truly understands your wishes. It doesn't always have to be a spouse. In some families, the spouse may not feel comfortable with financial matters, so an adult child or even a close friend may be a better choice. One woman I worked with named her brother because he was a banker and she trusted him to handle her accounts properly. Here's the key. Talk to the person first. Make sure they're willing and understand what you're asking them to do. And always name a backup person just in case your first choice can't serve. Number 5. When should you create a power of attorney? You might think, I'm young and healthy. Why now? But here's the harsh truth. Accidents and illness don't wait until you're ready. According to the CDC, over 24 million emergency room visits happen each year because of accidental injuries, and many of those people are under 40. One client of mine was only 29 when she slipped on ice, hit her head, and couldn't communicate for weeks. Her parents had no legal authority to handle her rent or talk to doctors. Don't wait for a crisis to force your hand. The best time to set up a POA is today. Number 6. How to actually set up your power of attorney. Now you're probably wondering, okay, how do I get this done? The good news is, it's easier and more affordable than you think. Here are the steps. Step 1. Decide who you want to name as your agent and a backup. Step 2. Decide which powers you want them to have. Just financial, just medical, or both. Step 3. Contact an estate planning attorney in your area. Most attorneys charge between $200 and $500 for a simple power of attorney. Some states even have free forms you can fill out yourself, but I recommend an attorney so it's done correctly. Step 4. Sign the document in front of a notary public. And Step 5. Give copies to your agent and keep one in a safe but accessible place. That's it. Simple. Number 7. Common mistakes people make with power of attorney. Even though the process is simple, there are mistakes that can ruin everything. Mistake 1. Not updating your POA. For example, if you named your spouse and then got divorced but never changed it, your ex could still have power. Mistake 2. Choosing someone without discussing it with them first. Some people are shocked when called on to act and refuse. Mistake 3. Not giving a copy to your agent. If they can't prove they're your POA when the time comes, it's useless. So review your POA every few years. Make sure it's up to date and communicate clearly with your agent. Number 8. The hidden benefits nobody talks about. Here's something most people don't realize. Having a power of attorney doesn't just protect your family legally. It also gives them peace of mind emotionally. When you're in the hospital, the last thing your loved ones should be doing is fighting over who gets to decide. A POA prevents conflict and lets them focus on what really matters. You. In one family I worked with, 3 siblings fought bitterly over their mother's care because she never named a healthcare proxy. It divided them for years. With a POA, you avoid that pain and keep your family united when it matters most. Number 9. What happens if you don't have one? Here's the part that surprises most people. If you don't have a power of attorney and you become incapacitated, the court decides who gets to make decisions for you. Not you. Not even necessarily your spouse. The judge might appoint a stranger as your guardian, and your family has no say. In some cases, families spend months and thousands of dollars trying to regain control. One heartbreaking example happened in Florida, where a woman's husband had Alzheimer's and no POA. The court appointed a professional guardian who drained their savings with fees. Don't let that happen to you. Number 10. Final thoughts. And the one question to ask yourself. At the end of the day, a power of attorney is about love. It's about taking care of your family even when you can't speak for yourself. It costs less than a fancy dinner, but can save your loved ones thousands of dollars and endless stress. So, here's the question you need to ask yourself tonight. If something happened to me tomorrow, who would I trust to protect my family? And have I given them the power to do it? Number 11. Should you make it durable? Here's a tricky detail most people miss. Not all powers of attorney work when you need them most. Some POAs automatically expire if you become incapacitated, which is exactly when you want it to work. That's why you must make yours durable. A durable power of attorney stays valid even if you're incapacitated. One woman I met thought she was prepared, but her standard POA became invalid after her stroke, and her family still had to go to court. So when you meet with your attorney, make sure the document explicitly says it's durable. Without this, your plan could fall apart at the worst time. Number 12. Should you limit or expand the powers? This is another common question. Should you give your agent full control over everything or limit what they can do? And the answer depends on your trust level. For example, some people allow their agent to handle only paying bills and managing medical care, but not selling property. Others trust their agent completely to make every kind of decision. One young man I advised chose to limit his agent to just managing his checking and talking to doctors because he owned a business and didn't want anyone touching it. So think through your own situation and decide what feels right for you. And remember, you can always change it later if needed. Number 13. Can you name more than one agent? This is a great question I hear all the time. And yes, you can name more than one agent. Some people even name 2 agents to act together, so they can check each other. Or you can name one primary agent and 1 or 2 backups in case the first choice can't serve. For example, one couple I helped named their daughter as primary and their son as backup. That way, there was always someone ready to step in. Just keep in mind, if you name 2 people to act at the same time, they must cooperate, which can sometimes cause delays or conflict. So only do this if your agents get along well. Number 14. Where should you keep your power of attorney? Once you've signed and notarized your power of attorney, you might be wondering, where do I put it? You'd be surprised how many people hide it in a locked safe that no one else can open. And when a crisis happens, no one can find it. Here's what you should do instead. Keep the original in a fireproof safe at home that your agent can access. Give a copy to your agent. Give another copy to your attorney if you have one. And in some states, you can even file it with the county clerk's office so it's on record. One man I worked with kept his in a locked box that only he had the key to, which defeated the whole point. So don't make that mistake. Number 15. Does it expire? Another question people ask is, does a power of attorney ever expire? And the answer is, it depends. Some POAs are written to take effect only for a specific time, like while you're deployed overseas. Others stay in effect until you revoke them. But remember, if you die, the POA is no longer valid. At that point, your will or trust takes over. So, don't confuse a power of attorney with a will. They're not the same thing. One handles decisions while you're alive but unable to act. The other handles your wishes after you've passed. Number 16. What if you move to another state? If you move to a different state, you should definitely have your POA reviewed by a local attorney. Every state has its own laws about how POAs work. For example, a form you signed in Texas may not meet the legal requirements in California. 1. Woman I helped moved from Illinois to Florida, and her bank refused to honor her old POA because it didn't follow Florida law. So it's worth spending a little money to update it when you move. Number 17. Why even young, single people need one? Some of you might be thinking, well, I'm single and don't have kids yet. Why would I need a power of attorney? But here's the thing. Everyone needs one. If you're over 18, you're legally an adult, and your parents no longer have automatic authority to act for you. If you're injured or incapacitated, nobody can legally step in unless you've named them. One college student I knew was in a bike accident and in the ICU. Her parents were shocked when the hospital refused to discuss her condition because she hadn't signed a medical POA. So even if you're young and single, this matters. Number 18. Final powerful story you won't forget. Let me leave you with this story that really drives home how much a power of attorney can protect your family. A man named David was only 42 when he had a heart attack. He didn't have a POA. His wife couldn't pay the mortgage because his bank account was in his name only. She had to go to court, spending thousands of dollars, just to keep the lights on and the house from foreclosure. She told me later, if we had just signed that one piece of paper, it would have saved us everything. That's the power of being prepared. So now it's your turn. If something happened to you tomorrow, who would you want standing in your corner, making sure your family is protected? And do they know you've given them the power to help? I'd love to hear your answer. Who would you trust with your power of attorney? Let me know in the comments.